Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to another edition of Crimes of the Week.
Detroit police are searching for the suspect in a violent home invasion that took place early Saturday morning. At approximately 1:20 a.m., two women, ages 56 and 66, heard a loud knock at their door. When they answered, a man in a clown mask forced his way into the home and began to assault them. The suspect beat the 56-year-old before firing a single shot that hit the other woman. He then made off with the 66-year-old's wallet. The suspect is believed to be in his 30s, and in addition to the clown mask, was wearing a black hooded sweater.
South Carolina police arrested a man this week in a 44-year-old cold case after DNA evidence linked him to the crime. 65-year-old Charles Ugvine Coleman has been charged with the rape and murder of Elizabeth Ann Howell Wilson, who disappeared after working her shift at a textile mill on March 20th, 1976. Wilson's vehicle and body were later found in a nearby rural community. She had been strangled, sexually assaulted, and beaten to death. Though it is still unclear what will happen at trial, it has been reported that prosecutors could seek the death penalty in the case. Murder in South Carolina carries a mandatory sentence of 30 years, but aggravating factors such as sexual assault allow for more severe penalties. Coleman is said to have criminal convictions dating back to 1975, most notably in 1977, when he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for assault and battery with intent to kill, housebreaking, and larceny. He is currently on 30 months of probation for multiple firearms violations earlier this year.
Two men were convicted this week in a 2017 jewelry store heist that resulted in the theft of more than $200,000 worth of valuables. After a 6-day trial, a federal jury agreed with Chicago prosecutors that Tobias Diggs and Joshua McClellan were part of the armed 4-person team who had robbed Rasney Jewelers. The pair were found guilty of conspiracy to commit robbery, transportation of stolen goods, and brandishing a firearm during a crime of violence. McClellan reportedly drove the getaway vehicle, while Diggs was one of the 3 men who entered the store and stole the valuables. Diggs is also said to have hit a female employee with his gun during the robbery and dragged her by her hair to the store's back room to the store safe. The 2 other men who participated in the robbery have so far managed to evade police. The first has been indicted but remains a fugitive, and the second has yet to be identified.
London's Metropolitan Police Force announced the recovery of a Ming Dynasty vase valued at $3.3 million. The 15th century Chinese vase is believed to have been stolen from a Swiss collection in June of 2019. So far, 2 men have been arrested in connection with the theft. The 44 and 42-year-old suspects were arrested in London's Tony Mayfair area last week on suspicion of handling stolen goods. Police say this is just one of several high-profile thefts targeting Chinese antiquities in recent years, the market for which is quite lucrative. In 2012, a string of heists at British museums and auction houses saw the theft of jade bowls, figurines, and other items that were reportedly worth millions. According to British police, the vase recovered this week will be returned to Switzerland.
A Kansas man has been arrested and his 2 daughters found safe after they were reported missing from their home on Saturday. An Amber Alert had been issued for the girls, ages 7 and 3, after 2 boys believed to be their brothers were found dead in the home earlier in the afternoon. A family member noticed that one of the children failed to show up for a soccer game and called the police, who discovered the bodies when they arrived at their home. The boys' causes of death have not been released at this time. The father, identified as 40-year-old Donnie Jackson, was found with his 2 daughters in Eric, Oklahoma, a city near the Texas border approximately 500 miles from Leavenworth. While Jackson is said to have had dealings with law enforcement in the past, it remains unclear what his level of involvement is in the death of the 2 boys and exactly what charges he will face.
A Virginia woman was sentenced to 11 years in prison this week after she was found guilty of multiple charges related to pretending to be a psychologist. Authorities say 44-year-old Sharonda Avery fraudulently treated over 100 patients during her scheme, which took place across more than 3 years. Most of those patients were children. Police began investigating Avery in 2018 after multiple complaints about her. They eventually learned that she was not licensed and had none of the degrees she claimed to have, including 2 doctorates. According to Avery's victims and some of their parents, she regularly prescribed medication for conditions that didn't exist and failed to properly diagnose conditions that did. She was convicted of 5 counts of obtaining money by false pretenses, 2 counts of passing forged documents, perjury, and practicing psychology without a license. Avery's sentence is well above the 2-year and 3-month maximum recommended under the state's guidelines. Commenting at the sentencing, Judge Charles Sharp said, quote, "I don't think I've ever seen a case in which nonviolent acts caused so much damage."
Two men are facing multiple charges this week after they allegedly performed an illegal gender reassignment surgery on a volunteer and froze the body parts, which it is said they plan to eat later. 53-year-old Bob Lee Allen and 42-year-old Thomas Evan Gates were arrested earlier this month after going to the hospital to try and visit their unnamed 28-year-old victim, who described a bizarre and disturbing series of events. The 28-year-old met up with Allen and Gates after researching castration online and finding their website. Allen claimed that he had 15 years of experience and said he would do the surgery for free. The victim was then driven to a cabin in the woods in southeast Oklahoma, where the procedure was done on a covered makeshift table. The 28-year-old told investigators he was awake for the entire thing. After the in-home surgery was complete, Allen reportedly told the victim he was a cannibal and that he planned to consume the parts from the surgery. He also claimed that he had several more people on the way to receive the surgery and showed the 28-year-old pictures on his phone of a freezer full of body parts. When investigators later searched the cabin, they found a plastic bag with what appeared to be testicles in a deep freezer located in a bedroom. Allen and Gates are currently facing felony counts of conspiracy to commit unlicensed surgery, performing unlicensed surgery, maiming, and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. They also face a misdemeanor count of failure to bury the removed body parts.
A Tennessee man is facing felony vandalism charges after he reportedly totaled his daughter's car in a bizarre dispute over a Chihuahua. On Monday, the daughter filed a report with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department saying that her father, Jeffrey Lynn Bixler, was riding around with her dog and threatening to cut its throat while on the telephone with her. He ultimately returned the dog, but things continued to escalate. The following afternoon, Bixler drove to his daughter's apartment and began to ram her car with his pickup truck while shouting obscenities. According to the daughter, Bixler demanded custody of the dog and said that he had legal right to get it back. He later claimed his gas pedal got stuck. Apparently, this is not the first time Bixler has lashed out violently against his daughter. Last year, he was reportedly arrested for beating the windshield out of her vehicle. Bixler was arraigned on Wednesday and was released on a $5,000 bond. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for November 4th. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.